Good afternoon and welcome to the May 9th, 2023 special meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have roll call, please?
Yes. Housing Authority members Ajinian,
Here.
Satrian,
Here.
Divine,
Here.
Kasakian, Parazian,
Here.
Brotman,
Here.
Chair Najarian.
Here. May we have your report?
Yes, the agenda for the May 8th, 9th, 2023 special meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, May 4th, 2023 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. What's the next item?
Next item is approval of minutes of the regular Housing Authority meeting of May 2nd, 2023.
I'll move the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any objections or abstentions for the minutes? Seeing none? The minutes will be, please record them as a unanimous consent by those present. Next, please.
Next are oral communications. We do not have any cards or callers at the moment.
Thank you. Next item on the business agenda.
Item A, community development regarding public hearing and approval of the Section 8 Public Housing Agency Annual Plan Fiscal Year 2023-2024. One resolution adopting and authorizing the submission of the Public Housing Agency Annual Plan for Fiscal Year 2023-2024.
Mr. Galanian.
Yes, good afternoon, Housing Chair Najarian, members of the Housing Authority. This is, as was read in the record, an annual plan that's required to be approved by this body and submitted to HUD. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Arthur Bolbolian, our housing manager, to present this item for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Galanian. Good afternoon, Housing Authority Chair Najarian and members of the Housing Authority. Today we're here to present our annual public hearing for the Section 8 Annual Plan for the fiscal year. For the fiscal year 2023-24. The plan is important because it's required by HUD for full program compliance and continued funding of the Section 8 program. The PHA plan is basically a roadmap that guides our PHA plan, PHA policy, programs, operation, and strategy for meeting local housing needs and goals. It is a comprehensive guide that also provides progress report on the goals and objectives that was outlined in the PHA 5-year plan that was adopted in 2020. In short, the annual plan provides a snapshot of the cost of running the Section 8 program, which is approximately $54 million. Two major updates. Late last year, we received 27 vouchers from HUD. Although that's not a big number, what's significant is that it's the first time that we've received vouchers since the establishment of our waiting list back in 2001. We have already received separate funding for it, meaning that regardless of whether our waiting list is open or closed, we can go ahead and issue the vouchers, which we have already. We have already actually listed 2 of them. We have also listed up 2 of them, and we continue to do so. We're also continue pulling from the list. As you may know, we're currently assisting applicants with 4 preference points, and we continue to do so until we bring up our lease-up rate. The next update is that effective June 1st, we are increasing our payment standard. Payment standard is a factor that we use to determine amount of, along with the income, is a factor that we use to determine the amount of rent that the unit is going to cost an applicant, and also how much the portions will be. That will be increased effective June 1st. It means that the tenants' portions will go down, but in turn, it'll cost us more to administer the program. We're also proud to say that our PHA has been rated as high-performing agency by HUD, which means that we'll get to submit a streamlined admin plan to HUD. We've also, in order to ensure that we're meeting community needs, we've met with our Resident Advisory Board, RAB, in March in person. We shared a plan with them. We got their comments and feedback from them. They asked some general questions about the plan. Those comments will be included and submitted to HUD. Per HUD, we also published a notice of the Section 8 annual plan to general public, but we did not receive any comments. So we are here to ask you for your support in adopting a resolution authorizing the submission of the Section 8 Public Housing Agency Annual Plan for the fiscal year 23-24. That concludes my presentation. We have Peter here, of course, from the department, and we have members from staff members from the Housing Division in case it's needed. And that concludes my presentation. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them.
Thank you, Mr. Walboyan. Questions?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Mr. Brockman.
We discussed this in the briefing, but I'd like to ask again. So I think you said we have about 1,800 people on the waiting list right now.
That's correct.
And we pulled off 350 last year, and this year I think the report says it's likely to be that much or more.
We continue to pull about 50 every month. That's our goal.
50
Applicants every month.
every month.
Yes.
Let's see, that's more than 350 a year. So that's now we're pulling 50 a month?
Yes.
But last year we did 350,
That
but
was
you're saying
last
now we're at a higher rate.
That's correct.
And do we expect that to continue? Because if it does, that would mean we get through our whole waiting list in maybe 4 years, maybe even less.
That's our goal, yes.
Huh. And so at some point, would we consider reopening the waiting list?
Once the waiting list is depleted, that's correct. We can go ahead and open the waiting list.
But do we have any sense of would that be in a year, 2 years? We have any kind of sense of where we want to be in terms of how many people on the waiting list before we reopen it?
It's difficult to predict, Council Authority Member Brockman, because although obviously our goal is to pull from the waiting list, which we are, sometimes if HUD tells us that to stop pulling, we also submit every month, we also submit a report to HUD. So if they tell us that, we're reaching a threshold where we have to stop, then we have to stop pulling, and that's what delays it. But we can't pull from the waiting list anymore. So
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. They'll tell us what?
If HUD tells us to stop pulling from the waiting list, then we would have to stop pulling, we would have to stop. So that's what delays it. Sometimes, we can't continue pulling indefinitely. We have to stop pulling it from the waiting list. So we keep pulling it until we reach a certain threshold, and it will stop. And that's what delays it sometimes.
But if we have, I thought we pull somebody from the waiting list because we have somebody who's currently receiving a voucher that for some reason or other moves away or passes away or frees up that voucher. That's when we go and, right? What do you mean by HUD would tell us not to pull from the waiting list?
Well, if we, especially with the payments that are going up, if we spend a lot, then the report that we submit to monthly HUD that indicates to HUD that we're spending, we may go over budget, and they notify us that we may go into shortfall, and if you go into shortfall, that means we would have to stop pulling. We'd have to stop pulling from our waiting list.
Oh,
and go
okay.
into shortfall, when we reach a certain number of reserve holdings that we have, I believe it's 2 or 3 months that we don't have enough. That means we don't have enough funding to cover HAPs for. I believe it's 2 or 3 months. I have to double check the number. If we don't have enough funding to cover our expenses for 2 or 3 months, we will have to stop pulling from the waiting list.
Oh, okay, because our payment standard is up, so it's costing us more when for each voucher is hitting the budget a little bit harder.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, but sounds like it's pretty good news as far as we're moving through the waiting list. It seems like, is this at a faster rate than we have in the past?
It's very good news, because even though 27 is, although it's a small amount, that's in addition to the 225 we received the year before for emergency housing vouchers. So we hope that trend continues, but it's hopeful. So so far it looks hopeful.
Okay, thank you very much.
I thought so. Thank you, Mr. Hajinian.
Just real quickly, is there a projected waiting list, an estimated date?
What do you mean?
As to what the Mayor Brockman mentioned about, does the authority have an estimated projection date for a waiting list?
As I mentioned, Authority Member Ginian, it's difficult to predict because there isn't. The short answer is there isn't. It's difficult to predict because it's all entirely up to us. Ideally for us, we would wish to continue pulling until the list is depleted. But again, because of the shortfall issue, budgetary issue, because of staffing, it's not as easy, as it is to do it.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Parazian, and then Councilmember Devine.
Again, on waiting list, are there households having portable vouchers and elect to live in Glendale, and they are on the Glendale waiting list? Portable vouchers.
There,
Your
One-
microphone. Push your microphone button.
Oh, sorry. Are there households having portable vouchers and they elect to live in Glendale? They are on Glendale's waiting list?
There may be, once we pull them, there may be, and then if they're already receiving it, then we remove them from the waiting list, once we pull them.
Oh, okay.
We can't in advance go ahead and pull them, but once we pull them, if they are, then yes, we pull them from the waiting list. Because they're already receiving assistance.
Thanks.
Member Devine.
My question is about the landlords and the number of landlords that we have in the Section 8 program. Do we have enough? I mean, if we are moving 50 off of the list every month, do we have the units available? Do we have enough landlords in the program?
Authority Member Devon, yes, yes, we do. We have, as you know, we recently had the incentive programs for the landlords that was highly successful, where we attracted several new landlords to the program. So the short answer is yes, we do.
So this was an event that you had, because I was looking at the draft program, and one of them was to expand and maintain affordable units in the Section 8 program. And it says that you have new owners in Section 28. And they are advising us to conduct owner outreach appreciation events. So is that what that was?
Yes, yes. As you know, we've done it in the past, and we plan on doing it again. Because that was also very successful and very, we received a lot of positive feedback from them.
Yes, I know when I was mayor, we had one, an appreciation event for the landlords, and I think we had one after that as well. Very well received.
That was the last one, yes.
Very appreciated, yeah. So I hope we can do that again. I had suggested that last year, but I don't know if it ever happened, but I think we should do that. I think we should thank those, because some of them have a lot of apartments, a lot of units that they're giving up for Section 8 housing.
You're right. Last year was, because of COVID, that we were limited, but yes, we will definitely plan on doing it again, and we'll keep you
All
posted.
right, great, great.
Thank you. Any more comments on this item? Okay,
Okay, I'll move the item.
thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Housing Authority members Ajinian,
Yes.
Asatryan,
Yes.
Devine,
Yes.
Kasakian, Parazian,
Yes.
Brotman,
Yes.
Chair Najarian.
Yes. The item passes, and the next item is,
Next is Authority member and staff comments.
any comments from authority or staff? Okay, seeing none, we're up for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.